You've guessed it, Cadwell Park race circuit. Not really a day for racing because it's pretty windy and it's cold and the track's wet. But if you've got a superb track like this one and many other circuits, and you've also got race bikes, that's fine. But what else do you need? You need marshals. And what do marshals do? Well, that's what we're here today for, to find out. As far as practical work went, looking after the actual sessions in the classroom was Phil Gorton, who is the Chief Training Officer.
Some things to remember. Overalls, have to for the TV. Waterproofs, because we know what this country's weather's like. Gloves, a definite. Sturdy footwear. We really shouldn't be wearing trainers out there. I know people do, but it really shouldn't happen. Really should be wearing boots. Not necessarily steel toe caps, but boots to protect the ankle, and they're a lot sturdier if you do have to run on and kick something off, like an exhaust, anything like that. It's far better to be kicking it with a boot rather than a trainer.
With close on 40 race-safe marshals ready to learn, I asked Chief Marshal Mike Blakey what the day was all about. So how do you actually structure today then? How does it all start?
Well, we would normally always concentrate on certain things. The first thing that we talk about after the introduction is personal safety, because that really is the crucial item in marshalling. If you're not safe yourself, then you're not in a position to help the rider who's fallen off. Okay. So we always make that one of our key issues. At the moment there's a great change in worldwide flag signalling, and so what we're going to do is to concentrate and have a session on flags, because there are quite noticeable changes.
The blue flag and the white flag will be waved and not held stationary. Now that is the big change. Before we've had a still flag, moving on to a waved flag on the next section. That stationary flag has gone. There will just be a waved white and a waved blue. The green, red and the oil flag will be shown. Now we've put that in inverted commas because it was actually stated that this wasn't waved and it wasn't stationary. It was shown. Now what I can suggest, especially with something like the oil flag, is instead of just holding it still, is that you hold it but you actually move it. In places like this, on a day like this, the wind will do it for you, I'm sure. But if you agitate the flag, if you actually show the movement of the flag, that will be enough to catch the rider's eye.
But it's not only flags, of course. You also need hand signals, so one marshal can signal to another one which flag to put out. And Jan came out into the cold to signal just what she has to do. So to request medical assistance for an injured rider. And then there's the signal to display that the pace car is coming out. Then there's a signal from the incident officer, and it's the incident officer only to flag marshals to display a red flag. Then there's a request for a scoop stretcher to be brought out to a casualty. And finally there's a request for the oil flag to be displayed, and this can be given by any marshal who sees or suspects that there's a loss of adhesion on the track.
In the last year or so there have also been a number of quite serious incidents, or potentially serious incidents, where people have handled casualties, fallen riders, very badly. And we just want to make sure that that doesn't happen, and so we have a session on why we need to do certain things when a rider falls off, why we have not to do certain things. Yeah. You know, you don't twist them around, you don't screw their head, and you know, how do you if you really have to help taking a helmet off, how do you do it?
When you're first going up to see people, you need to get the helmet over. You can see he's already fogging his visor. He might not be doing that at high speed, but he's already rebreathing CO2 and not getting as much oxygen. So you need to get this open. It's a horrible sight, but we need to talk to him. We need to find out what's going on. I'm looking at him. If he's unconscious, he's not talking at me. I can see he's, you know, the lights are out. I can see they are actually anyway, but the lights are out, this guy's unconscious, we need to get his helmet off. And that's why I need some assistance. I've got my hands on his helmet because I'm stopping his neck moving around. But right from the start, that's what we're doing. And now I've got some assistance. And an assistant is now supporting the head, which means I've got my hands free. And the first thing you need to do is undo the strap, because it's very difficult taking the helmets off without undoing the strap. It's possible in odd chinless wonders, but mostly you've got to get that undone. If you can't undo it, I don't care how expensive the helmet is, just cut it. Try not to cut the throat when you're doing it. It makes a lot of mess and it doesn't look good on the cameras. Once we've got that done, we've got to protect his neck. The two key issues here are we need to protect his neck and we need to get the helmet off. And that's why we have two people. One person's job is protecting the neck. The other person's job is to take the helmet off. And to protect their neck, put two pairs of hands broadly spread is good. If I take my hands out the side of his neck, I'm now supporting his neck and I'm putting my thumbs underneath here to support his chin also. So I can now support his neck. And now, I can say to Jeff, and now Jeff can take the helmet off. Just like you take your own helmet off, you need to think about rocking it. If they've got spectacles, take them off first. And we don't worry about Mike's nose, but normally you'd protect his nose when you're doing that. But can you see how I'm supporting his neck? It didn't flop around like Gobert's did. It's still not flopping around. I can flop it around if I like. But can you see how with a two-handed grip like that, I'm stopping his head moving. And Mike's neck hardly moved at all when we took his helmet off. That is how you safely take a helmet off. It's easy, it's simple, you can all do it. I can now hand over care of his neck and we can now put a collar on to help protect it. But all the way through, one person's hands are protecting his neck. If you slide your hands up now, all the way through, his neck is being protected.
Well, that's all we've got time for now, but if you want to see more on Cadwell, don't forget to tune in next week.